afternoon, Don. Thank you so much for having us here. So could you please introduce yourself and the dairy here?
Okay. I'm Don Brand. I'm the facility manager of Bettencourt Dairies. Currently, we have about 55,000 milking cows through 13 different locations. My job primarily is just to oversee the milking parlors and the manure management system.
Oh, that's awesome. Can you tell us how many cows you have here on this dairy?
At Dairy 1, we are milking 13,000 cows twice a day in 2 double 60 barns, 2 cross-vent housing barns, each one holding approximately 6,500 cows, and then there's the dry lots are on the outside. I think that's another 10,000 cows.
Oh, that's a lot. So could you please tell us a little bit, just briefly introduction about the manure treatment system?
So about 2-3 years ago, we started our first cross-vent barn, and we had to make a drastic change to how we were handling. Prior to that, we were just getting the manure that came out of the parlors or that was vacked up, and it just ran over a single slope screen and then to the lagoon. No other treatment, no anything else. After we started the cross vent, we were collecting 100% of everything from the cow, and that was increasing the salts and the other, collecting all the urine and everything else that we had to deal with. We decided to buy a centrifuge and a set of slope screens for the barn, and it helped. It removed. We were down to on the best 1.5% total solids in the water, but not removing any dissolved solids.
Right.
When we added the second cross vent, we obviously had a double. We were undersized. We added another set of slope screens, so now a total of 4 screens and 1 centrifuge. And we were doing okay. We were still right there, but we were bypassing probably 150,000 gallons that was making it through the screens, but not the centrifuge. And we were running the centrifuge at top speed. We decided to add a second centrifuge to capture all of it and slow down the centrifuge.
Both or just the second?
Both. They ran parallel. They weren't in any series.
Gotcha.
And so by adding them both, we were oversized, so we were able to spin them a little faster and slow down the water flow down to 250 gallons a minute for each. We run about 750 to 1 million gallons a day.
Can I ask a question just following? Once you mentioned you want to reduce a little bit the centrifuge speed, the major concern for this is to save energy? No,
we actually sped them up. We were just missing the water. The centrifuge couldn't consume. It was like 350 gallons of max, and we needed to be at 425. By adding the second centrifuge, we were able to process all the water through the centrifuge, but obviously it was oversized then. So we were able to slow down the water and speed up the centrifuge.
Makes sense.
And capturing a little, we were hoping to capture a little more. Whether it did better.
Yeah.
I don't know what the actual results, down to the, how many ton more we collected out of it. But we do a pretty good job collecting a lot of cake. We're approximately about 8 truckloads a day, just pulling out the cake, what the centrifuge has captured, which normally would have gone to the lagoons, which every truckload that you're pulling out before the lagoons is going to be cleaned out at the lagoons. So fuel costs, and just the capacity of the lagoon, cleaning it out, that's a lot of expense in fuel.
Right.
So we've still felt that it may cost a lot to run and operate, but we're still ahead.
That's awesome. Thank you. So
is there any difference between summer and winter? The manure?
I want to say no, because we're in a crosswind, so it's climate controlled. We're ranging from 49 degrees to 85 degrees on the average through the year. So the manure is coming in. The process from when it leaves the crossvet to the slope screen, through the centrifuge, to the lagoon, the colder weather, the metal contracts, the flows, the water's thicker, everything kind of slows down. So we have to slow the pumps down a little, and try to process it in a little thicker. It's like trying to separate oatmeal in the wintertime. The centrifuge reacts to the cold air. If we have big shifts from a cold night to a hot day, it will start foaming, and that's our biggest. That's usually a fall and then a late winter, early spring when the temperatures are really jumping all over the place.
You just mentioned maybe you add a sand lamp before the manure go to the screen and the centrifuge. How often do you clean your sand lamp?
So we try to clean it. We try to clean it twice a day. Originally, it was designed. Unfortunately designed for larger sand. We oversized it by 20 feet and it still needed to be another 100 and some feet long. It just, you can never get in. For Idaho sand, it's silty, it settles fast. There's just not enough raceway to collect it all. The idea was once a week and it's twice a day, and that's probably still not enough.
Okay.
So based on what you have now, do you think this sand is a big issue for the centrifuge, or you think it's okay?
It's a big issue, but it's so it's a softer, siltier sand. And when we originally purchased the centrifuge, the budget was budgeted that we would have to tear it apart once a year and pull it out because of the sand.
Right.
We're actually making it every 18 months, and we're doing well. They're pulling it apart. We're getting a little sand wear, but not as bad as we thought. The only thing we're thinking is, yes, we're capturing a lot. The slope screens are capturing a lot, but there's still a lot of sand in the pile. But it's fine enough that I think it's holding up and pulling out before it's really starting to beat and grind on the scroll itself.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good to know.
I just want to make sure you don't use the sand as bedding material.
No.
All the sand is below.
The sand is all blow sand. It's just a light breeze, the sand flows. So it's not like a silica type sand. It's a very fine powder, moon dust.
Okay, that makes sense.